Today is what? August 28th? And I was thinking back about my transcripts from court that had Commissioner Diane Marsiglius's name on it. So I pulled it to read it. You know what's funny about her in this situation? They all have this tesnesia. Tesnesia is the amnesia that Tesla has had throughout the 23 years of me dealing with her. And it's a very convenient way of her forgetting what she said versus what you're supposed to do. She agrees to one thing and then does another. She agrees to one thing, does another. That never held true. She never came through with anything except for having him. That was it. But I noticed that in the court transcripts, when Diane called the sheriffs to come to my house to threaten me for calling her about dropping the charges, which I was giving her an opportunity to do, after I got arrested, I noticed there's a couple things that were not involved in that. Diane didn't mention my previous emails to her. So, face value on the transcript, it sounds like I'm a problem, that I threatened her. So she entered herself in. She volunteered that information to the courts and it made on my transcript. However, she did not disclose all the emails I sent to her previously. I have them. But she pointed out that I was calling and threatening requesting that my charges be dropped, that it all go, blah, blah, blah. Give it a week and then it's there. So she didn't mention that all the time that we communicated. And she did not communicate on that transcript that she gave me her business card at my Perkins the same year in 2007 when I made the phone call to Child Abuse Hotline. She did not mention how she met me in the court transcript. How she said, Mr. Edel, here's my business card. Is there anything I can do? Anything at all? Please let me know. She failed to mention how I got her business card. And I got her business card because she came into my Perkins and found me and gave it to me. Why? That same court transcript never mentioned a certain district attorney, Matthew Weinthrob. My phone calls to his election office phone number. He, like I called Diane, I called his election business office for his next election to duty for the district attorney of Bucks County. That never showed up. So I'd like to subpoena. I'd like to get his phone records, which should be publicly made, that I called on many numerous times, and he never even, that didn't make my transcripts. They didn't add me calling the commissioner plus the district attorney's office, election office, when I was asking for help dealing with the situation. That never made the court transcripts. Nor did any of my goings on with the DA, with the commissioner, with the court reporter, never made a newspaper. It never made the news. There was nothing about it. Hence my letter to the Bucks County Herald, about how come, if I'm such a menace to society that you had to arrest me, how come none of that made the newspaper? So, my phone call to Marge McEwen, the head of CPS for Bucks County Children and Youth, never made my court transcript either. My phone calls, my emails to the county throughout the years never made the court transcript. It's funny how they want to pick and choose and cherry pick what they think is important. The problem is with Diane, she gave it away. She gave away. She's in control of all of this. If she was smarter, she would have kept her mouth shut. She didn't. The fact that she sent the sheriffs to my house to threaten me to stop calling her? What is she, the godmother of Bucks County? Is she sending her dogs after me? What is she sending her police after me for because I called and wanted to talk? But she didn't mention what's funny. She didn't mention any of the nice phone calls or emails that I sent to her before I sent that one. She cherry picked the one that is begging to have the charges dropped because there's nothing there to arrest me for. She cherry picked the information she wanted to be put out there. Problem is that information she put out links me to all of the other previous phone calls that I had made to her before that one. But that one made the court transcript, but all the other ones nicely wanting to talk to her because she offered me her business card at my Perkins when I was working in my place of business. And she comes walking into my Perkins and gives me her business card, a stranger. Never knew who she was. But she found out who I was. She neglected to put that information on the court record. I gave my card to Mr. Edel some time ago. He reached out to me a couple of times. I offered my help, which he never did. Why? Why didn't she mention all of the phone calls that led up to it? Nicely asking, hey, can we talk? Hey, listen, if you can't talk, can we meet for lunch? She avoided all of those niceties. She ignored me asking to talk to her. She didn't respond to any of my emails. She didn't respond to my phone calls. That phone call, that last phone call, got the record. None of that stuff. It's funny how they want to pick and choose and cherry pick what ones sound important. But realizing now, looking at the court transcripts, she told on herself. But why not Matthew Weinthrob? He was running for re-election. Why didn't his phone took my many phone calls? Not one phone call back, as usual. So I'd like to subpoena, or I'd like to ask him to voluntarily provide that to me because I called. The funny thing is, this whole entire situation revolves around nothing. Them not saying a thing. No response to anything. Now, one I understand. When I talked to CPS and talked to Marge McEwen, she denied me ever calling and placing a report. Now, this is Bucks County saying this. Now, what she didn't understand is when I called the child abuse hotline, it goes to Harrisburg, then it goes to regional, area, then to Bucks County. So Bucks County had a record of it because Harrisburg had a record of it because they took the record of it from me My social, his social, her social, my address, her address, his school, my work, her work, my address, my email address, her email address, her phone number, my phone number, all of our birth dates. I gave them everything. What happened? How he almost died. All this stuff. How he was at the doctor's way more than what it should have been. Never called back. 2007 when this was. She can deny that I never made that, but Harrisburg has the records. And if they're not there, there's another fucking problem. If they want to deny the fact that I called, she told me over the phone when I called her and I said, why didn't I ever get investigated? Mr. Edel, you never called. Bitch, I did. The games that they played far exceed what anything should happen. I should not have had to work this hard to call for child abuse protection for my kid because he's a fucking citizen of this here United States of America, and that's what they did. They denied him his right to have not been abused or neglected, and his health care been denied and neglected. It's bad enough she did it, but they want to fall in line and get into bed with her and then protect her instead of him. He's the victim. They want to turn around and make it sound like she's the victim? I never laid a hand on her, never. So as I picked this apart and I realized that he didn't put his information in there when I called him multiple times. Hand on the Bible. Called multiple times asking for him. Didn't go to the Bucks County District Attorney's office. Well, I did go, but didn't call his office to talk to him on his business line. I called his election office. That way the records can be subpoenaed and they're public. Bet you didn't know that. So the games that were played, it's sad, pathetic. Our country, our government, has to do better than that. And there was no flags that were brought up. No flags. Not a Mr. Edel. When I made the phone call to the child abuse hotline, no, Mr. Edel. Hey, listen, we understand that this happened. We're going to give this an out of county investigation so that we can make sure that we do the best for your child. They had a right to do that, and they chose not to. They could have encompassed another county to come deal with this instead of putting under the carpet, deleting the text message or emails. They could have done the right thing. They had the opportunity. They had it all right there. They had everything that they asked for when you called the child abuse hotline. They could have packaged that up, Bucks County, when it finally got to them, it was 3-4 places, and said, we're handing this over to another county. Because that's what we're going to do, because we don't want to be involved. No, they said, we want to be involved. We want to take this and smear it. That was their choice. That's what I love about how I've come to these things. Because it's real. What is written, what's not written it's just as important. What's not is written and what was done is just as important what was not written. Diane putting her name on my court transcripts, that was like, all she had to do was say, I met Mr. Edel the same year that that message to us got deleted. And she just told me she was involved because she didn't tell the whole story. As far as I'm concerned, she's behind it all. She had a choice. Josh didn't. Josh had no fucking choice. Here I am, a good dad, trying to do things the right way. I have been trying to do the right thing for 2 years. And all they did was turn it, flip it, switch it, delete it, change it, deny it. You can't deny it is there in electronic form. So, and if Harrisburg comes back and says there's nothing there, that's an even bigger fucking problem because I'm the one who gave them all that data, and that all that data got deleted. By whom? If they come back and say it. That'd be a disgrace. It's a disgrace to my son. It's a disgrace to the processes and procedures and the policies and the protections that are there that have been gone, that my son has been denied since he was a child. And even the ones now as an adult, when I call Adult Protective Services and nobody ever called me back. Yeah, you have all these taxpayer-funded programs to help protect people, but you're not protecting the fucking people. Do your job. State police don't want to hear it. Try talking to them. Nah. Here's the documents. No, we're not involved. Nobody wants to touch this case. Nobody wants to touch this. That must mean it's really fucking big. I don't know. I just want to make sure I say this because this is so important. I want to make sure I talk about at least video timestamp it when I realized Matthew Weinthrob didn't make my phone calls to his election office never came on those transcripts. The same time I called Diane. What was he afraid of? He had to know. I made many phone, not one, not two, not three, 5, 6, 7. I'm looking for a response. I'm here. I'm a dad. I'm looking for help for my son. Will you help me? No. When the taxpayers find out that this is what the elected officials are doing, that's pretty screwed up. I want to change these laws. It's time for a change. Somebody's got to reach it, because, and then the laws to protect my kid, not just that, the statute of limitations, whatever. It's not working. It hasn't worked for me. And what about all these other people who out there who are not middle class, who are low class, who get CPS on their door because your kid blew their nose or they sneezed and they got CPS at their door? What about all those people? What about them who they go in there, take their kids out of their lives, and then they pull them out? Why? Because they want to in turn give them to other families? Is there regentrification for kids? Is that what we're doing here? My kid is a white man who was born to middle class parents. And he gets special treatment? I don't want him to have special treatment. I don't want him to have special treatment. I don't want to have them deny his right to medical attention when it is necessary and prescribed in the doctors. I never asked for special treatment. Don't want it. My son got it. I got it. Anyways, I just wanted to put that out there because it's real. It's tangible. The phone calls were made. They can be pulled from there. They can deny it all they want. The grand fact is that the evidence is on my side. So, love playing games. Bring it on. What's the next one? What's going to happen next? treat me like I'm nobody for 18 years. Intentional conflict of interest since 2003 when she started her job. Come on. We're better than that. And he deserved better. He deserved an independent counsel. He deserved an independent county to come in and investigate what I said. That would have been the right thing to do. I wouldn't be here right now saying all this. If they did the right thing in the beginning and said, pass this off to Berks or Philadelphia or Montgomery or whomever to investigate that phone call that I made to the Pennsylvania Child Abuse Hotline, I would never be here right now. Nope. Be on. Moved on. But thanks to them, I've learned so much. I have learned how the sausage is made. I learned how they get to all of these different points in the system and stuff like that. I learned who can get away with who and what and where and how, and keeping all of that information as you go through it, as you do it, so I can lay it all down. That God's help was able to get me to have it there and have all of the records. Because I'm not a violent person, nor did I ever contemplate any sort of violence to anybody. I'm not that kind of person, not revengeful, not hurtful. I'm a loving, forgiving person. But you're a public servant and you have certain responsibilities to do. You take an oath of office, you uphold it, that's all you gotta do. That's all they have to do. You can't pick and choose what side of the law you want to be on because you're behind the desk. You're a judge, you're whatever. You can't pick and choose. When I stood in court and on the court transcripts that I have said, Your Honor, she's a child abuser, I need your help. And what'd he say? I don't know what you're talking about. Really? Really, Judge? You know what I'm talking about? It's all right. As this gets rolled out, 22 minutes on this. As this rolls out, it begins with a woman, a son, and me. That's where the story starts out at. I'm going to go piece by piece until Bucks County gets entered into this. Then in some time, we can talk about the other stuff. All that stuff I just talked about gets tabled. All of that stuff gets set on the side, and then we'll pick it back up another time. All that stuff about Diane and Bucks County, they don't come into it until later on. So when I start this story, I have to factually begin where it starts. Because I'm not going to start at the end. Because the end doesn't make sense unless I talk about the beginning. Boy's got to get an MRI or CAT scan. That's medically proven. That's what you do. We need to get that done first.